this shirt untucked.
Okay, sound. Oh, mine's untucked too. So let's just both untuck. Tuck or untuck.
It's getting hot in here, so
untuck all your clothes. I love it. I think
I want to untuck my clothes now.
I didn't check our levels, but I think our levels are okay. Does it sound okay to you? If it sounds okay to you in the headphones, it should be okay.
I think it sounds okay to me, but when we're talking about our levels, are we talking about caffeine levels?
Caffeine levels are not as high as what they normally are. I think I need an IV drip. You know, here's
Healthy
what I need.
Boundaries.
Here's what I need. I need a pump. Just like a type 1 diabetic has a pump for insulin. Welcome to the Daves of our lives. The opinions, comments, and views expressed on this podcast do not reflect the opinions or views of Dave or any other Daves. All comments should be taken as parody and or satire. Thank you for listening.
We're live.
Well, we're not live, but we're recording.
We're alive.
I know I'm alive. That's the only person I can be sure of that's alive. Everyone else, I don't know for sure.
It's hard when you're in the Matrix.
Dave, you could be a simulation for all I know.
I think if I was a simulation, I'd be a little bit more appealing in your life.
Maybe you're the simulation I need.
But not the
one you I want. Exactly. There's a reason you're simulated the way you are.
I feel like we need a sequel to the independent movie Lars and the Real Girl for AI girlfriends.
Lars and the Real Girl?
Yeah, you look it up. It's about a guy who's like carrying around a fake girl and all his friends just play along with it.
Somebody fact check Dave on this.
Nobody's fact checking this, man. You don't want this in your internet.
Lars
history.
and the Real Girl?
Lars and the Real Girl. We could have a sequel about like AI girlfriends. It'd be pretty good.
Didn't they do one with like Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson?
Don't know.
She was like a digital assistant that he always had in his ear, and he developed a relationship with her.
Oh, yeah.
Like, anyway. Siri was his girlfriend.
Welcome to the Daves of our lives. I'm here with my co-host, Dave Merca.
Oh,
dang it. I'm Dave.
You're Dave Merca.
You're Dave.
Oh,
say, can you see?
Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, my gosh. Okay, fine. Let me say that again. I'm here with my co-host, Dave O. Beautiful.
And Dave Merca. We are recording on, what's today, the 2nd of July?
2nd of July.
2 days before the 4th.
Fourth. Is today Canada Day? Canada, like Independence Day? We're fact-checking this one live.
You're doing a live fact check?
For Canada?
Okay. While you fact check, I'm going to give some announcements about what's coming up. We've got some exciting things in development where you have a number of other Daves lined up to be interviewed on the podcast. So the next phase in the podcast is to interview Daves. So the Daves of our lives really will be about the Daves of our lives and your lives. So if you know of any Daves, let us know. We would be happy to interview them.
Not any Daves.
Only Daves.
Cool ones.
Why not any Dave?
I don't know. Like, can we have lame Daves on the show?
Lame Daves aren't going to want to be interviewed anyway, so of course the cool ones. But
I don't know
if you.
Okay, we're gonna have to have a little pre-screening, but send them our way. We'll do like
we might have to have like a Google form or something.
I don't know if you know
pre-qualify the Daves.
This might be surprising for our listeners, but we do have standards, however low they are. We have standards, and we can be bought.
The standard is you have to be Dave, or at least have gone by Dave.
Yeah. Daves. Yeah.
Dave or David.
No, this is going to be really exciting. And I think we're going to do interviews and we'll still do this format.
Yes.
So we'll split the time between them. But this has been something we've been talking about for a long time. And there's going to be a fun season-long adventure that will be announced at a later date. There's your tease.
Get ready. Buckle up for this ride.
Right.
Anyway, we're excited.
Podcast.
If you're following, keep following. I'm excited. We're excited for the diversity that we'll bring to this podcast.
Yep. Diversity.
Diversity. What are we talking about today, Dave? You have any announcements or?
I got an update.
Oh,
there's been a scandal in my life.
Yes, your life kind of revolves around scandal, Dave.
It's a dark chapter.
Another dark chapter. You've had some dark chapters that you've shared.
Okay, it's not that dark.
Does it have to do with death?
It could have.
But it didn't.
Not yet. We don't know.
Oh, dear. Okay.
So
what's the scandal?
My dog came into the office yesterday.
Your dog came into your home office.
Home office, and was acting really weird. Just kind of like squirming around. And I'm in the middle of a meeting, so I like pause. I'm like, hey, I open the door. I go, Laura, Pepper's acting stupid. Like she got stung in the butt by a bee or something.
So she's like, what was she doing?
She's just not normal dog things. Might have been normal for a cat. Was not normal for a dog.
Normal for a dog. Okay.
And so she goes and she looks, and there is a wound in her back side.
Like her hind quarter?
Yeah. And she got shot.
She got shot?
By, we think, like an airsoft or a BB or something. So we had to take her to the vet, and she got sedated. And
did they do some kind of like ultrasound or anything to see if there was anything lodged in the wound?
He could feel something, but he couldn't see it on the ultrasound or x-ray or something. So he thinks it's plastic or ceramic or something. It's not metal.
Yeah, so probably like an airsoft gun.
So Laura reported it to the police. We have suspects.
Neighbors?
Yes.
Not anyone we're going to dox on the podcast.
Not my neighbor to my left, not my neighbor to my right, and not my neighbor across the street.
Oh.
There's only one neighbor left. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, we'll see what happens.
Would you, if they, I guess, would you be pressing charges?
I mean, I'm assuming there's some weird stuff going on there. So
okay.
I think either charges or I want to shoot them in their butt.
So some kind of retribution then, is it?
And we're going to live stream that on the Daves of Our Lives.
No, we won't.
We won't live.
But it would be fun.
No, I don't believe in eye for eye, but yeah, I mean, she's a dog.
Frustrating. It's frustrating though.
Yeah, she's not like doing anything to anyone.
Yeah, she's like one of the calmest dogs ever.
She looks like a giant Ewok. And actually, a real size Ewok.
She does look like a normal sized Ewok.
A normal size Ewok, but she is. So we've been walking her a lot this past year, trying to like help her lose weight. She gained 12 pounds.
Muscle?
That's what I thought, but her dresses don't fit the same.
That can happen with muscle too. Just saying. Just saying. She's gone up a couple dress sizes.
Thyroid problem is what the doctor thinks. So we'll see. Those dogs.
They're so needy.
She really likes her food, so.
Can you blame her? Food's good.
I can't. I love food.
Somebody asked me, someone I used to do CrossFit with, asked me if I was still training like I did when I did that. And my response was, I am fighting the front lines of the dad bod, and Fit Dave is slowly losing ground. It's just creeping up on me, Dave.
As the oldest Dave in this podcast.
Yes.
Hold strong.
To what?
Don't give in too far on the dad bod.
Okay, I'm trying. It's a constant battle in the kitchen. And look, when we go to the Pepperidge Farm thrift store and come back with 4 bags of Milanos, that is tough to turn down.
Oh, do you know, we found an interesting food at the grocery store.
Okay.
It's at Kent's. It's made by, I think it's made by Velasco.
I don't know who that is.
They make pickles.
They make the pickle. Okay, yes.
Pickle balls.
Pickle balls.
Pickle balls.
Do they have pictures of like pickleballs?
They actually have They have stuff on the back about pickleball.
They have the rules of pickleball on the back of the pickleballs?
They talk about it. I don't think the rules are on it, but there's like interesting facts. So they're definitely playing into like the pickleball thing.
Way
right?
to go. I think that's a great marketing tool.
It's Laura's like, heck yeah, I'm getting these, right? So she buys them.
And how are they?
It's like a Cheeto consistency, but flavored like a pickle, like a dill pickle.
So it's not like they made balls out of pickles. It's like a cheese puff kind of.
It's a snack.
But
it's pickle balls.
It's like the cheese
flavored
balls.
Yeah.
In the big canister.
They're in a bag.
But they're come in a bag. And are they green?
They're green. The nickname I have for them is Grinch balls.
Yeah, I could see that.
So
just sticking with Grinch balls, and we're not going to go like anatomic and these are the Grinch testicles.
Oh no, that's where I'm going with it. So anytime I've shared them with anyone that comes over to the house, I'm
would you like some Grinch
pickle
testicles?
Balls? And then they throw them in the mouth, and I'm like, these remind me of Grinch balls, and watch them try not to like spit them out.
Like,
how does it feel to have some Grinch balls in your mouth? It's just me being teenage. Dave.
Yeah. We don't cut anything out of this, but I'm tempted.
You can't cut it out now.
I'm not going to cut it out.
Grinch balls.
It's in
perfectly. No, it's not. Anyway,
it's totally it's on brand for us.
It's on brand with
R1,
sponsored by Grinch balls. No joke. Every single time we eat steak salad, ranch and A1 mix.
R1 sauce for.
They call it R1 sauce in the house now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll catch on. Maybe we'll actually have to come up with our own brand of R1 sauce.
We'll start at the farmer's market.
Like Mr. Beast has for his chocolate bars or whatever.
I think we probably need to go to the Caribbean, depending on how you want to pronounce it, and start our own pirate-themed
restaurant
sauce. We'll do a whole restaurant after it. Yeah.
What would the restaurant be called?
R2. D2. And we'll have robotic servers. Little droids.
Oh man, we're really planning out our future here.
Oh, we're really gonna get sued. R2D2.
R1 sauce at R2D2.
Disclaimer: I have not slept much today.
Well, yeah.
I didn't get a lot of sleep last night.
Okay, I was gonna say you didn't take a nap.
No nap. Okay, what's new with you?
What is new with me? Not much. Just work.
I could say something that everyone who's an astute observer of the podcast will notice is new.
Microphones?
Yes.
We do have new microphones.
We have some
new. We've got some new equipment. We're trying.
Equipment.
Yes, we are trying to make it easier to interview more than the two of us. So we've upgraded our microphone setup. And other things are in the work. Yeah. And now Dave can hear out of his headphones, which he wasn't able to before. We were just wearing them. I could hear everything. At least I could hear myself.
To look cool.
But yeah, we've upgraded now. Dave can hear me. I can hear Dave in the headphones. So we're not that we need them. We're in the same room. But
I would like to say it's an upgrade, but
I think it's an upgrade. I think it's an upgrade.
Before I just had to read your lips.
You did a pretty good job at that.
What was that?
Other than the new mics, new setup, not much. Just keep plugging along at work.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Work is good.
Yeah, work's good. So we do want to get to our topic.
Yes.
Before it gets too late, because Dave hasn't slept much.
No, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. I wanted to talk about this because some kids across the street were playing with Roman candles, and my kids were kind of freaking out. They were concerned that someone was going to end up in the hospital, or a house or yard was going to end up getting caught on fire.
Before you go too far, today's topic, 4th of July.
4th of July, America.
America. I have some historical stuff. I have some stories. You have some
I've got
things.
some shenanigans.
I got some things he's going to fact check me on.
Yes. I can't fact check live on my phone or my tablet. So.
I'm totally unleashed now.
Oh, you just start spouting them, Dave, and we'll see what.
And that's when Mother Russia
So 4th of July
came and saved America from the English.
Fact check that, folks. That is definitely not how it went down. Is it? Am I wrong?
I know we'll find out when I get my turn. Go ahead.
So, because 4th of July is coming along, Roman candles are out. And as they were doing this, and as my family was kind of freaking out at this, I think some of them wanted me to go over and say something to them. And I was tempted.
Wait,
but then
to get them to stop or something?
Well, a couple of the shots from the Roman candle came close to two of my kids, and they were a little scared. And so, they wanted me to go say something. And I was tempted to.
Okay.
And then I thought, I have done much worse. So I'm not going to judge them too harshly. I'm going to let them figure themselves out. I think they either they ran out or they decided to stop, because it wasn't too long after that they were done and they were cleaning up. They were cleaning up after themselves.
No.
So I think that's fine.
It's a hard thing when you people are doing fireworks and stuff. People have a lot of opinions about this.
Yeah.
And it's like it says it's legal for me to do them. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But is it neighborly?
Right.
And I would say that some of the fireworks that I've been involved with were less than neighborly, while still very legal.
Yeah, yeah. Well, some of the fireworks that I have been involved with in my day were started legal until they were modified. Which is why I say I've done far worse.
So many good things in life.
Yeah,
legal
right.
until they're not.
Until they're not. So when you modify a firework from its original design, it does become illegal. And you're familiar with the ground blooming flowers?
Yeah.
They're the cylinder, and you light them and they spin.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to give too many people ideas, but I modified those and they became explosives. Like almost quarter stick of dynamite type of like M80s.
This is a disclaimer from Dave's of Our Lives. We are not.
I don't endorse this. I don't encourage this behavior, but I know what happens.
So my cousin, we would take the little black cats, right?
Yeah.
Just the little ones, right?
The little firecrackers.
And we'd take a rifle shell and knock out the little, is it the primer?
The primer?
Primer.
Yeah.
So knock out the primer. So you shove it down, then you pull the little fuse out.
Yeah.
And then hold it with a pair of pliers, and then take a potato and go plop and make just a little potato launcher. So much fun.
What kind of shells were you using? What size? Not like 22s or like
that big round?
Probably 30 cal.
Yeah.
30-06.
Anyway, so
that's actually kind of fun.
It was really fun.
That's so funny.
So we did that, and I remember his cousin. So this is my cousin's cousin, not my cousin. There's a little triangle there, and we're not related.
Okay.
Because it's
cousin's cousin.
It's my cousin's mom's niece, but his mom is not biologically my aunt.
No blood relation.
No blood relation, right? And she lit one of them and held it up between her finger
and
her thumb. It was like, is this how this works? And we're like,
let it pop. Those fuses are so short.
Yeah, and it just blew up in her finger.
Was she okay?
Yeah, I mean, she
Unless
can only
you've got,
count to 8. No, she's fine. It didn't.
Unless you're like clenched fist around it. Typically, those black cats don't do a whole lot of damage. It stings.
Have you done one like that?
Well, yeah, I lit one and like went to throw it, and I was too late, and it, pow.
Yeah. So
yeah,
we had a good laugh about that later. Melissa, if you're listening, we appreciated the entertainment at your expense.
It is entertaining.
We also the next day went around and collected all of the lit fireworks that people had like left out.
and did what?
We cracked them all open
and dumped all the powder out.
All the powder into a pile. And we thought it'd be so cool just to light it.
And what was the result? That doesn't sound like, just from experience.
Do you know what's inside these?
It's like black powder.
It's flash powder.
Flash powder. Okay.
So it's not gunpowder.
Yeah. So it just burns really quick and
really, really bright.
Yeah, sure.
So we lit it, and it's like boom. And
but
him and I
it's
were
not like
both
an explosion. There's no compression.
There's no pressure.
Yeah.
But I'm like, can you see? No. Like, I thought, the thought went through my mind that we might have blinded ourselves.
It's like lighting magnesium and staring at it.
So, super white, bright light. And it's like, we're just sitting there, like, maybe our vision will come back. And what lie are we going to tell our parents?
Did you live in Utah when certain fireworks were not legal?
Well, certain fireworks are still not legal in Utah.
Right, but
you're saying
like aerials and bottle rockets and Roman candles, those kind of things.
Yeah, and so it's very easy to see who went to Wyoming.
Right.
But they didn't seem to enforce it a whole lot.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So, and I never really looked at the law, but I was always told if it goes above 15 feet, it's illegal.
Relative to what?
15 feet above ground level.
Yeah, but which ground?
The ground from which it's launching.
It's hard to prove.
Right. Yeah.
It could be like 15 feet above the tip of that mountain.
Again, I didn't fact check this because I was just like, oh, okay. I won't ever touch
you didn't
those.
Look up stuff about hamsters. I don't know that you started fact checking until like 6 months ago when we started.
I don't even
podcast.
know if I started fact checking then, Dave.
The time you should have.
The time I should have, I didn't.
The hamsters deserved it. Like, the hamsters would have lived if he had just Googled it.
Poor Cupcake.
We're like, hey, Siri.
It would
Couldn't even bother Alexa.
It would have been that easy.
Just that easy. What could possibly go wrong?
You freeze a hamster to death.
Bury another one alive.
Yeah. Let's...
Anyway, if you haven't heard about that, go back and check our older episodes.
Check out that will explain why the logo on the opening image is two hamsters talking, Cupcake and Brownie.
You can understand why it's that way.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you didn't Google.
So I didn't have like quick access to the internet. It was dial-up back then.
You could still look it up.
I didn't bother looking up I don't even... Were the laws on the internet at that point? I don't even know if they were.
I don't know about that.
I don't know if you could like easily access the laws online. Anyway, so when I was, when I could drive, Evanston is just across the border.
It's practically begging.
Exactly.
It's
they
like
have
an oasis in the desert.
Right as you cross the border for fireworks.
It's basically the only industry in the state.
Yeah.
Like gambling is to Vegas, fireworks are to Wyoming.
Yeah. So we'd go across the border and try to smuggle them back. And we always hear stories of people getting caught smuggling fireworks across the Utah border from Wyoming. No one ever, I never saw anyone getting excited for this, or it was always just a rumor. And I don't know how much they actually enforced it. So did you ever have...
So my friend's uncle, he was driving across the border, and a cop shot him.
It's like... It's almost like lore around drug smuggling. It's like...
The same story, but throw fireworks in and
right,
make it
yeah.
in
Any
Wyoming.
story you hear of drug smuggling, that's what we thought it was like. You need a hidden compartment.
Listen up, hombre.
Under your
what do you got in the trunk?
Yeah, you need we would put it in the spare tire compartment and hide it under the floor mats as we were driving home.
I deflated my tires,
but we never did.
And I
anything
loaded
crazy,
my
right?
tires.
It was
fireworks.
It was always the little black cats. That was the thing that we would go for.
Really? Were they just cheaper then?
They were cheap.
Oh, okay.
You got a couple hundred black cats for dirt cheap. and I couldn't afford any of the aerials, like the 90-shot aerials that people get. I couldn't afford that. I was 16.
Yeah, you need to spend your money on other things.
I spent most of it on the gas to get there.
Yeah, I know. Now, this was before I took business classes and actually knew how to figure out what is the return on investment.
Right, exactly.
So, what was your earliest memory of fireworks?
Ooh, what was my earliest memory of fireworks? I think Stadium of Fire in South Jordan.
How old were you?
Oh, 7 or 8.
And anything about the fireworks that was like...
They were so epic.
They're so epic.
That's all I could, all I really remember was sitting. It felt like they were like right overhead, and I was totally mesmerized. And they might have been. I don't know. I was young enough to where I can't remember, or I've had too many head injuries to remember the details.
Yeah. You think you've only had 5 head injuries, but you've had 6.
If I can count on one hand.
That's how bad the last one was.
Exactly.
I remember in Texas, I was young. It was probably like 5 or 6, and we were so close that the cardboard pieces would hit us.
Yeah. Yep.
And it was just like laying back and looking at it, and it was like, we are right under them. And every once in a while something would like come down and you'd be like, ow. Maybe we're a little too close.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
But then in Russia, surprisingly, fact check me on this, they do not celebrate the 4th of July in Russia.
Really? No, you've got to be kidding me.
Yep.
Why wouldn't they celebrate the American Independence Day?
I don't think they really cared.
How about the embassy? Did they do anything at the embassy?
Yeah, they shot up fireworks, but the air defense shot them down.
The early warning system flagged it and
countermeasures. Talked about many times. No fireworks. Oh, do you know how to say fireworks in Russian?
No.
Фейерверк. There you go.
Creative. So they didn't have a word for firework or pyrotechnics.
I don't know. Yeah, nope. Apparently they didn't.
Okay.
Feyerwerk.
Feyerwerk. Is there a word for fire?
Yeah, agon.
Is there a word for work?
Robota.
And does that
agon robota or feyerwerk? Feyerwerk.
Feyerwerk. Okay.
Sounds way better.
Do you have to say it with that head bobble?
I don't know.
Feyerwerk.
No, you have to say it without smiling.
Yes,
I love Feyerwerk very much.
Drop the voice down.
Yeah.
So
no
far.
smiling.
No smile. Deep voice.
I'm very happy.
So here's a memory from
Independent.
Here's an early memory from fireworks in Wyoming. This is when I had some money to spend. We did a road trip to Chicago for like my mom's aunt and uncle's 50th wedding anniversary. And it was either on the way there or on the way back. It was right around the 4th. We stopped at a gas station, and me and my older brother took our own money and went and bought fireworks.
Did your parents know?
They knew. And
did they disapprove, or they just didn't care?
They didn't let us bring them back to Utah because they heard all the same stories about smuggling. And so we found a park in
You're
Wyoming.
Gonna light every single one of these right now.
Yeah, that's exactly what
it's
it was.
It's like the bucket over the head with the cigarettes. If I catch you with a cigarette and make you smoke the whole pack with a bucket over your head.
So we smoked the whole pack in Wyoming.
I mean, my mom was mostly mad about the cigarettes, but she also made me do the fireworks.
So I smoked the pack and lit off all the fireworks. They're in a public park in Wyoming.
I drank a beer.
This will teach him.
Made me a man that day.
I learned my lesson.
I grew my first chest hair, and the only one. I'm pretending to be you there, not me, just so we're clear.
Because you have more than one chest hair?
Quick side note. Laura did cornrows in my chest hair.
No, she didn't.
Yeah.
When?
Our honeymoon.
Did she take pictures?
No. I don't think you take pictures.
That's disappointing.
I think for the hair chest contest on like a cruise, maybe we'll get it like styled like the Beast or whatever.
With bows in it.
I know.
Do you really have that? Oh my gosh, I don't know if I want
to know. Like throwing up in my hair a little, in my mouth a little bit right there.
Oh, do you wake up with hairballs?
I don't lick myself anymore, but
or any less.
That's true too. Lick myself just the right amount.
Same as I always have.
No, I'm just kind of the missing link. You know, they've been looking for it in science, but little did they know.
Dave Matthews, everyone.
Missing link. Half man, half ape.
You change your Instagram handle to Dave Matthews, the missing link.
You are the missing link. Goodbye.
Wait, missing link? Weakest link.
Yeah, no, that's the show. That's why I was like making.
I was trying to remember what it actually was.
We need to make fun of England as much as possible today.
Of course. Yeah. I haven't really cared about the crown since 1776.
That's what I said when we were at the restaurant, and I'm like, why is it so
restaurant?
dead? We were down in St. George, and we were like on an anniversary
Taste
trip,
of England or something.
And we walk into this restaurant. It's pretty nice. I'm like, it's kind of dead, and they're like, oh yeah, the Queen's funeral's going on, and I was like, I thought we got over her like in 1776. The lady was like, trying not to laugh because she's like, she died, but she's also like
yeah, this is America.
Yeah, America. Anyway, today's special. I'm like, and she seemed like a perfectly nice lady.
I remember when the Queen died and people were talking about it.
It's a big deal.
Well, yeah, it's the Queen of England.
They have one ruler for like 50, 60 years. In our time frame, we have like 10 presidents.
In that same time
frame. So president to royalty ratio is different.
It is different. And we don't revere. Do we? I don't know. Do we revere the president the same as they revere the crown? I don't think we do. Is the Queen
of England carved into a mountainside?
No. Nope. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So maybe we revere them even more.
Because
we carve them into mountains.
Yes.
I don't know.
But we don't believe that they're divinely appointed like the royalties.
I don't know if you've talked to people since the last election, but there are some people.
All right. Okay. That's fair. This happens every election cycle, though, doesn't it? Right? And then you got people on one side of the aisle saying, for a period of 42 months...
42.
The Antichrist.
Oh, yeah, that one.
Yeah, that prophecy in Revelation.
I thought you were talking about 4 years, and I was like, that's more
I know. I can my math sometimes, Dave.
Did you know that there's 3 types of people in this world? Those who can do math and those who can't.
And now I know which one you are.
Anyway,
but yeah, like every election cycle, it's like for a period of 42 months they will rule, and then so every president is the Antichrist to somebody.
Seems fair.
Yeah, I could see that.
So, are you ready for some interesting?
Ooh, some interesting history.
Trivia.
History.
Trivia history. So I'll just talk about things that I've learned, and you can tell me what things you have never heard before. So
I have never heard. Just kidding. I don't know what I have never heard.
How many presidents were there before George Washington?
Like in the world?
In the United States.
Before George Washington?
Before George Washington, how many presidents were there?
Presidents of the United States of America?
Presidents of the United States of America.
Because you're asking this, I'm going to say 2.
So, after the Union had not been formed in the sense that we have until the Constitution,
right?
And so
pre-Constitution,
there were presidents,
like presiding over the colonies of the United States.
They were presiding over like the Continental Congress or whatever.
Oh,
and it was if you look up the history on it. The people did not want to be it. They
didn't want to be the president.
Yeah, they're like, it's your turn to be president. Like, oh, suck.
There was no election process.
No. It was like a round robin, condolences, you're in charge.
It's like when someone gets called to be the bishop.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like, sorry, not sorry. So that was very interesting. It is a little controversial to like call them presidents of the United States because they're like, did the United States exist as it does now? So there is that period of time from declaring independence, which is 3 independent countries, colonies declaring independence, versus a unified single country later on.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. The story about the cherry tree with George Washington, true or fiction?
It's like apocryphal.
Fact or fiction?
It's apocryphal, right?
It's apocryphal.
We don't know for sure.
Nope.
If it actually happened or if it's just
one of those stories.
Yeah, just a story.
Same thing about the people.
I thought the cherry tree was Abe Lincoln, Honest Abe.
No, the cherry tree was George Washington. There's a video game called Day of the Tentacle. It's a sequel to Maniac
You've talked
Mansion.
about this when we talked about the hamsters.
With the hamsters. And when you go back in time, one of the things you have to do is paint a peach, like an apricot tree, make all the apricots red. So that George Washington's like, oh my gosh, there's a cherry tree. I have to go chop it down.
To make it happen. To make it part of history. And then in the
future, the tree's gone.
Oh, okay.
Because you chopped the tree down in the past. Yeah. So
or you caused George Washington.
You tricked George Washington to do it by painting it red.
Okay.
Okay, so during the Revolutionary
War. Wait.
Go ahead.
I'm wrong about Honest Abe. Where does the Honest Abe come from?
I don't know. No, that we're not talking. That's Civil War stuff. We can do another one on that. Okay, so
we're Revolutionary War.
Another thing that was interesting is that the Continental Congress, they printed their own money.
Okay.
And for the British, this is just straight up treason.
Yeah,
you're counterfeiting basically, but they're not. It doesn't say British money on it.
We're not accepting the British pound anymore.
Yeah, so they made their own money, right? So what did the British do? They counterfeited it.
They counterfeited
the American money, and they flooded the colonies with this fake money. And there was an easy tell between which one was real and which one was fake.
What was the tell?
The British one was done really well. And the American one wasn't.
This looks way too formal. Yeah, this can't be American.
We're just rebels, man. Like getting it all perfect and stuff. So it was one of the ways for them to fight the war was to deflate the currency.
Oh yeah. It would be, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean it was a good tactic, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that was interesting is why didn't some of the Canadian colonies, because there really is no difference.
Right.
Why did they not join?
I don't know.
They just didn't want to.
Nope. They didn't want to go to war.
The colonies, when I looked it up, they had enough cultural differences. Like the differences between like the southern colonies and the northern colonies.
Yeah.
Like the difference between the northern ones and the ones up in Canada, it's even different, like culturally.
Right.
And so they're like, eh. And so when the Revolutionary War ended, everyone that supported the king, they get out of the country.
And so they kicked him out to Canada. And I've heard
they voluntarily left, but
sure.
Most of them went to Canada.
Yeah.
So I think that America has this like we're rebels and like just tell me I can't do it. I'll do it, right?
Yeah.
These rule breakers.
Yep.
And then Canada's just full of a bunch of very polite people who followed the rules. Because they left. They were the ones that were like
over hundreds of years they've just stuck with it.
Actually, we probably shouldn't rebel against the King of England.
I think it'd be safer if we don't.
Well, because it's the rule, guys. And the rest of us are like, yeah, let's shoot people. There's something about Americans.
You can't take my guns.
Yeah, don't tread on me.
Don't tread. Yeah.
And so that was very interesting. So my ancestor, Arthur Middleton, signed the Declaration of Independence.
Really?
Not as big as John Hancock, which, interesting side note, I said something I was at the dentist office and I was talking to the girls and I said, yeah, there's my signature. I'm like, it's not as big as John Hancock's. Like, here's my John Hancock.
And they're like, actually, it's Herbie Hancock.
And they did not get the reference.
Oh, that's sad.
And so the story behind it, which you probably know, but I'll tell it for anybody who doesn't know, is that John Hancock, he signed it so big that the King of England wouldn't need his glasses to read it. But to understand the historical context, this is signing your own death warrant.
Yeah.
This is
so the Declaration of Independence was essentially a declaration of war against England.
Not necessarily, because they weren't saying we're going to go to war. They're just saying we're not part of you anymore.
Yeah.
England chose to fight to keep them in line. And that didn't work out. A large part of it, I mean, if you just like read through history, there's tons of miracles. They got help. They got help from the French.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that happened that just kind of made it work out. But even then, even after they conceded and said, okay, fine, you guys have your independence, England thought that they would come back. Right, that this was just a temporary kind of situation. So the War of 1812 is considered the second
Revolutionary War.
Second, yeah, and I think that's the one when Canada came down and burned the White House.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Those Canadians following the rules.
Just some Canadians floating down the river. They're definitely not going to go light fireworks in the White House. Like, hey there, brothers. How you doing today, eh?
Good to see you, eh?
It's just some friendly Canadians. Don't worry. They would definitely not do any subterfuge. Covert Canadian. There's an alliteration. No way.
There's kind of an oxymoron, too.
Yeah.
Actually, the Canadian military is actually pretty cool.
Yeah. No. We have nothing but love for our Canadian brothers and sisters.
We just are not part of the Commonwealth anymore.
Yeah.
So do you know the answer to this question? Where does the name America come from?
I think it's Amerigus.
Amerigus, meaning?
There was a cartographer from Italy.
Oh,
and that's why the American continents, if I don't have it correct on Amerigus, it's because of the Italian map maker, I think.
I think you may be right. Somebody fact check us on that. Are you fact checking live?
We'll do this for America.
For America.
Let's see.
And where does Columbia come from?
Name Columbus.
It comes from Columbus?
Yeah.
So the District of Columbia comes from Christopher Columbus?
It's Americo Vespucci.
Vespucci?
He's a cartographer.
The Italian cartographer.
Cartographer Martin Wald, whatever, named the newly discovered continent on his map America in Vespucci's honor using a Latinized version of his name.
Oh, great.
This was done because Vespucci was one of the first to recognize that the lands discovered by Columbus were not part of Asia, but a separate continent. And that's interesting because if you study Columbus's journeys and stuff, he knew that he was on islands, right? It was very obvious.
Sure.
But on one of the journeys, they are going along the coast of the American continent, probably like central, southern or something.
Yeah, sure.
And he sees a river, and it is a massive amount of water flowing into the ocean. And you only get water in that volume if you have a lot of land to catch the water.
Right.
And that's when he realized,
this is bigger than an island.
This is not an island. But yeah, that was very, very interesting.
So Columbia does come from Christopher Columbus. I always thought it was something else.
Now you're going to make me fact check.
Yes, fact check
that one, like Fyrverk. Come on. It sounds right.
Fyrverk?
Fyrverk. It's definitely
firework. It's definitely firework.
Origins of Columbia.
Not the country, but like
District of Columbia.
District of Columbia. I thought there was another reference.
Yeah, the name Columbia originates from Christopher Columbus's surname.
Huh.
It's a poetic name. So here's another interesting fact about early American history. why
the Book of Mormon.
do we have grass that we cut? Why do we have lawns that we manicure and cut?
I don't know, Dave.
Thomas Jefferson, when he went to France, they had manicured grass and lawns. It's a sign of wealth.
Oh,
and
okay.
he was super into everything French.
Yeah.
And he came back and popularized it. So you and I, every Saturday, we get up and we go cut our lawns for 2 hours a week.
I don't know if I would say every Saturday.
Some of us cut it more often than others. Anyway, so we're sitting here cutting this lawn, and it's like...
This is a French practice, huh?
Yeah, but you think about it, like, if we're cavemen just sitting here having a conversation about the future, and you're like, then they're grass, and I cut it.
You're going to keep it nice and short
like,
and the same length.
Why you cut grass? You eat grass? No, just cut.
Just cut, yeah.
What for? Wife says so. Look nice. So you're expending energy to cut grass to make it look. It's a wealth symbol.
It is a sign of wealth.
It is a sign of wealth.
Look at all this water that I can just put in the ground.
Yeah, but look at me. I shape nature around me, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us are like super wealthy. We live in like middle class,
middle
suburban,
class. Yep.
And we are mowing grass because the French and Thomas Jefferson. There's freedom in that. I want my freedom fries back.
Jeez. Well, maybe I will do some zero-scaping. Less wealth, less grass.
You're like, I can show you that I can do nothing.
Now, you're bringing out this American rebel in me, Dave. I don't want to be subject to some French practices, except for, maybe some fashion. I don't know.
Maybe some fashion.
I don't know.
No, the French. We're good friends.
No, they helped us out in the Revolution.
There is a scaled down, smaller version of the Statue of Liberty
in France. Yeah, there is. Yep.
They definitely did help us out. I don't think that we would have made it.
I think we really ought to maintain that friendship. I don't know any French people though.
I've been to France.
Have you? I've never been.
Yeah.
If you don't have any French Daves, we'd love to have them on.
That's true. I would love to talk with a French Dave. I don't know if Dave is a popular name there or not, but
I don't know. It might be something to let's put some feelers out. 6 degrees of separation. I'm sure there's a French Dave. We just got to interview enough Daves to get to them. What would be the French equivalent of Dave, though?
Now I feel like every single guy that I see that looks like he could be French, I need to walk up to him and say, "Excuse me, is your name Dave?"
How does someone that looks French? What does someone look like that looks French?
I don't know, like one of those memes.
Like Dave, you could, for all I know, be French.
I look way more Irish than French.
Yeah, but to me, my Asian eyes, you look French.
Because all white people look the same.
That's right.
I see how it is.
Yep.
Actually,
the French, the Germans, the British, all y'all look the same.
No. In Europe, I mean, they notice the difference between.
I believe it.
And so they without even looking, they can tell. But here in America, it's funny because like I don't look around and be like, man, that guy looks really German. I'm just like, that's some white dude.
That's exactly. We're a melting
now they got
pot.
like a more interesting last name. I'm like, that guy's definitely Polish.
Yeah,
I should make fun of him.
Like Skowalski or
some sort of ski, right?
Yeah, some sort of ski's got to
like
be
it's a Polish name, and
yeah.
there's all sorts of Polish jokes, right? And you're immediately going to it.
I actually don't know any Polish jokes. That's probably a good thing.
If you live in the Midwest, I think there's a lot more razzing of.
I think the Midwest is a misnomer.
Misnomer? What do you mean by that?
It's so far east in the country. Think about where does the Midwest start? It's like the Mississippi, isn't it?
What should we call it then?
It's like the
middle.
The middle would be like from
Texas.
I don't know, Tennessee to Oklahoma.
No. I mean, I
Nebraska.
think, Texas is right in the middle.
Yeah.
So you got like your Dakotas, Kansas, Oklahoma.
The Midwest. That region was probably like when Texas was being colonized or whatever. Like
colonized.
I don't know, colonized if is the right word. Taken over, bought, whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay.
When that region became part of the Union, then they called Wisconsin part of the Midwest
new,
or Illinois
frontier, right?
Yeah. When we finally got all the way west, the West Coast, we should have renamed it to the
land formerly known as the Midwest.
Say Middle East.
The Middle East.
I was going to say Middle East.
I have never thought of the Midwest as anything to do with the Middle East, but now I'm going, there's a Middle West and there's a Middle East.
There is.
Is there a Middle South?
No, it's the South.
Is there a Middle North?
No, it's the North. But like even that, like we don't call like Montana North. It's not.
We call that Southern Canada.
Idaho's not North. It's the West. It's still the West. Washington is the West. Like regionally, it just doesn't make sense to call it the Midwest.
I have to look into that.
We should start. I'm starting a movement. We're gonna start calling it something other than. I don't know if Middle East is appropriate either.
I think we call it the Middle East. I don't think you own the Middle East.
Where are you heading, Dave? Ohio? The Middle East.
Listen, there's a Moscow, Idaho. So there can be a Middle East.
America. So you recently visited the Middle East?
America.
Like
the hot, dry one?
No.
Or the hot
the hot, humid one.
The hot, humid
in the United States.
Oh, man, that's funny.
Okay, the movement has started. Middle East America.
What are some of your favorite things about
like 4th of July traditions?
America, its founding values.
Oh man,
anything.
Man, free speech is great. The fact that we can like podcast about whatever we want.
Now, for clarification, freedom of speech doesn't mean that we can't be sued, like
for like defamation, or
stuff like that.
Yeah,
it just protects
or like
us
inciting
from
violence.
Government involvement.
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean that if we said something inappropriate that people don't have the right to also exercise their
freedom comes with consequences. Yeah. Right. You can make your choice, but you don't get to choose your consequences. Same thing I tell my kids. Right. There's still order, still rule of law, but at the same time, right, for the most part,
it's a pretty revolutionary thought back then to have that.
We don't have to subscribe to a national religion.
That's a huge one too.
It's a huge one.
Well, and I think America really was the first country that allowed that I can think of. You have so many immigrants coming over from different faiths coming here for persecution reasons.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. A lot of the original colonies, they have religious
Pilgrims,
origins.
The Quakers.
Right?
Yeah. So I think that is fantastic. Love it.
So
freedom of assent. Like I could go through the Bill of Rights and say, this is what I love about America.
This is, I was listening to a lady, I think she teaches at like a naval academy. I can't remember.
Annapolis?
Sarah, I can't remember her last name. She talks about like geopolitics and stuff. Seems super smart.
Sure.
She was talking about the values of America, and she said these are the 3 values in America that are like about America. Like this is what America's about.
Okay.
She said Greek philosophy.
Yeah.
Okay. So we adhere to like the Greek philosophy model. Roman law.
Yep.
Which, side note, no wonder we think about the Roman Empire every day.
Every single day.
We're Roman Empire 2.0.
Yeah.
And Christian values.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, like Judeo-Christian values. So, even if you're not religious, like really the values that we have are Christian values.
Right.
And so when you look at that and then you look at another country that we are at odds with, one of the other big players, do they have similar values?
Like China.
Yeah, and actually, this is exactly China.
We're very more individualist. They're more collectivism.
But does China have Christian values?
No,
does China have like Roman law in mind?
A Senate and a Congress.
Does China follow Greek philosophy?
No.
And so these are three big differences. And so a lot of the times, like, we have a hard understanding of like, hey, they're doing their thing, right or wrong. It's just they think differently.
Right.
Because their culture's different and their values are different.
Yeah.
And one thing I really like about America is that we are bound together by our values. It is not because of, well, you're of X race. Right? It's like, oh, well, like, so in Russia, they're like, you're Russian. You're Russian. Like, this means something, like, in an ethnic sense.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I see.
And you're Japanese. Like, this means something, right?
Yeah.
This isn't that you adhere to Japanese culture and you speak the language very well. You are Japanese.
That is a big part of your identity.
People, like, there was a girl on YouTube, and her dad is African American and her mother is Japanese. She lived her whole life in Japan. She does not look Japanese, but she speaks fluent Japanese. This is home to her, culturally, everything, and she is not treated the same.
Because of their skin color?
Because of her ethnicity is different. Conversely, I know somebody whose Japanese parents speaks Japanese, born and raised outside of Japan, and when they came back in their teenage years, also was not treated like they were one of them. And it's like, I don't see that. And I'm not like trying to rag on like Japan or anything. I'm just bringing up things that I saw personally when I went to Japan, living overseas. I really like that people can come here from very different backgrounds. And while we recognize differences, they're still Americans.
Yep.
And that is an odd thing in the rest of the world. Because we have a melting pot.
Yeah.
Now, is it kind of controversial sometimes? Yeah.
Sure.
But for the most part, relatively peaceful. Getting along.
For the most part, yeah.
People doing their things. And that is not what would happen historically in other countries. Right. You're different. You're not accepted.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. As you were talking, I was... When we visited the Philippines a couple of years ago, I can't tell you how many Filipinos tried speaking to me in either Tagalog or Ilocano, and I'm like, Mom, I don't know what they're saying.
Which put shame on your mother.
I have to like clarify that I don't speak your language.
My uncle is adopted from Mexico, and he doesn't speak any Spanish. He lives in California. Yep. He looks like ethnically like Mexican, right? And he was raised by two old white people, my grandparents, and Mexicans will come up to him and be like, "Hey, vato loco, ¿cómo está?" And he's like, no
Nintendo Espanol.
Tu quiero Taco Bell? Yo quiero
Taco Bell.
And he said they make fun of him.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I was like...
I can see that.
I'm so sorry, man. He's like, I probably shouldn't live in California. I need to go somewhere else.
Is California not a melting pot to you?
No, there's just a lot more people that speak Spanish where he lives. So he gets treated poorly because he doesn't speak Spanish.
No,
I was raised by two white people. I'm sorry.
Here's what I'll say about, growing up. And I grew up in some small towns in Utah. And what I'll say is I never really, to my recollection, I didn't really experience any bigotry or racism. Now, this is growing up in like small town Utah.
Yeah.
My grandmother comes from polygamy stock. So
on both sides. It's an island.
And I remember going to family reunions with that side of the family and recognizing that they all look way too similar. Like all the cousins looked so much alike.
Okay, so when I was young, we went and visited like Borneo.
I'm gonna move that just a little bit away from your, so when you rock, it doesn't rub the mic stand.
Like that right there?
Yeah, it's very sensitive to
mic got
handling.
it. So I went to Borneo. I'm like 15 years old.
Borneo?
Yeah.
I've heard I don't know where Borneo
it's Malaysia.
is.
It's
okay.
island.
Malaysia.
But I remember I get there and I'm like, first of all, I went through this like in a week. It was like, okay, everybody looks very similar. And then it was like, girls are okay. But by the end of the week, it was like, they are very beautiful. And I can tell the difference. I can tell the difference between them. Like, just a 15-year-old kid.
Yep.
Like, you know, I just wasn't exposed to a lot. In Russia, especially, there wasn't as much like ethnic diversity. A lot more in Dallas.
Yeah, yeah. I bring that up because, you know, they all look so much alike. Like, even in this community that are all related somehow.
Yeah, you get...
But
I'm
even,
not like from Utah.
Yeah, but even like living in these communities, like I didn't feel like I was unwelcomed, or, you know, not. I didn't feel like I was being segregated or alienated
because you were allowed to use the same bathroom.
Sure, let's call that. It was 1980, like 1989. No, but I don't know that my experience is unique. Like, sure, there's ignorant people.
I think it depends on the part of country, and I think it depends on the history of what's gone on there.
Yeah, I am sure that if I like lived in the South, that it would be different.
I don't know.
I don't know if it would be different. Well, and I've spent time in the South. Like, so, I've been in Mississippi, I've been in Alabama, and
they didn't care.
Not the people that I experienced.
So our neighbor across the street has a African American son-in-law, not named Dave.
Darn.
I know.
We'll find him.
His name's BJ. Super cool guy, right? So BJ.
Did you say DJ? Like Dave.
B.
Oh,
I know.
Okay.
If it's DJ, does the D stand for Dave? No, it's BJ. Anyway, super cool guy. And finding out about like his family history. His dad went on a mission somewhere in the South. Met his mom while he was a missionary there, and she was like a single mom with 2 kids.
Okay.
I think the dad might have been somewhat involved, but not like a super stable relationship.
Right.
And nothing happened, you know, as he's on his mission. He's just like teaching the gospel. Goes home, goes back, and is like, hey, like, I want to date you, whatever, right? They get married, and they move back to Utah.
Okay.
She had 2 kids. She has 10 more kids with this guy.
Okay.
Like, an amazing woman.
Yeah.
Just the fact she survived. Just the fact all 12 kids.
12 kids.
Survived. Yeah.
Wow.
And so BJ, he's the older one.
Okay.
And his dad, his mom, both black, but then his siblings, they're
all half white.
They're like half. But I asked him what it was like, and he said back then people weren't kind.
Even back then, how old is he?
He's like your age.
Okay.
A couple years younger than me.
Yeah.
But he said they experienced issues. They ended up like having homeschooling all the kids.
In Utah?
In Utah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
It's bizarre how slow some of this is, right?
Well, I think there's
just the culture, right? Culture is just very slow to change. But right? We want to see it happen fast because we have these great ideas, but it takes multiple generations to change a culture.
I would agree. I just don't think that Like, there are horrible things that happen to Chinese, Japanese,
oh, yeah.
Filipinos and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know that it gets to the same level of the horrible things that happen to African Americans.
No, I would agree with that.
With the whole slavery thing, and then you have like 100 years of like Jim Crow and you have like segregation, and I think we're still healing from it.
Yeah, there's absolutely dark history in the United States. I mean, in terms of like the history of the world, like how fast things like that have changed in the U.S.
Here's the thing: we had the bloodiest civil war, like one of the bloodiest civil wars ever.
Yeah.
To fighting over slavery.
Yeah.
And as a child coming from the South, just full disclosure, my mom, everyone around me, it's like, hey, it was all about state rights. I don't disagree that state rights have something to do with it, because there was that question, can you leave the Union? Do the states have enough power to leave?
Sure.
And but if you read the secession documents, like I went and read all of them like 5 years ago.
Okay.
They're straight up like, this has to do with slavery. And some of them go so far as saying things like,
so from what you've read, this was about human rights. It wasn't about state rights.
They were saying state rights get to choose. Like, we have rights to choose over this subject. You can't come in and tell us, because the states had more rights earlier on.
Is this like still an argument that people that live in the South will bring up when a topic gets brought up?
Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of feelings toward like, hey, the federal government is overreaching,
which I get. Like,
the states should have more rights.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But if you read the secession documents, some of them said things like, and I'm quoting here, like, the Negro is bred for this. Like, they are meant to work in the fields.
Oh my goodness.
It straight up is like saying evolutionarily, they're meant to do this. And so don't tell us what to do type thing. And I'm like, okay, it was about state rights, but it was also about slavery.
Yeah.
You can't say it was not. And the sad thing is that they tried to phase it out.
Right.
And it was,
we've talked about this in a past episode, right? Some ideas like Joseph Smith, right?
Yeah, but I mean, they've been doing it for a long time. It's just it was met with a lot of resistance.
Sure. Like when you're disrupting someone's production, their capitalism or their income stream, yeah, there's going to be met with a lot of resistance.
So talking about just like America, looking at that and going, man, we went from slavery to the whole Jim Crow thing, and like Martin Luther King, and we have like BLM and everything. And I go, we haven't tore ourselves apart.
Yeah, we're still here.
We're still here. We're working through it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And I think it speaks to the fact that we have those values, and that's what binds us as Americans. It isn't a race, a language, a religion, my family history. It's the ideals that we share.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful, because it's beyond a lot of things that are really outside of your control. Like, I didn't choose my family history. I don't choose my race. A lot of times you don't choose your religion when you're younger, right? It's it's brought to you.
That is
right?
part of the family, right?
But you can choose the values that you want to live by.
Yeah. I would agree, Dave. That is beautiful.
America.
By
the way, when they had the elementary school naming thing here
for Golden Spike,
yeah, it was Bunderson, right? They tore Bunderson down.
They tore down
hey,
Bunderson.
We're going to put a new school here. What name do you want?
Yeah.
Do you know what name did not make it to the top 5?
No. What?
America Elementary.
America Elementary?
Comma, M-U-R-I-C-A.
Comma or apostrophe?
Apostrophe.
M-U-R-I.
America Elementary.
It's disappointing. Missed opportunity. Come on, Box Elder County. Do better.
I think they knew I had submitted it, and
Oh,
the people. The people.
Did you really though?
Yeah, the people that run the gingerbread contest obviously are running the naming contest here. Because what's more American? Golden Spike, fine. We have a. It's in our county.
It's
right?
regional, right?
It's regional, but like America Elementary, come on. Probably raise a whole generation of kids that can't spell America.
Dave, you and I are both transplants to Box Elder County.
What can we do to disrupt Box Elder County as much as possible? America Elementary.
America Elementary.
Yeah. We're outsiders. You and your people.
I'm really trying to make myself an insider, Dave.
I'm just waiting for the insiders that don't like us to die.
Like the Israelites, we're waiting for that generation.
So 40 years, we're waiting for.
I've been alive 40 years. When's that gonna happen?
I know. The people that are like, I've lived here in Brigham my whole life, and we don't want your people here. I'd be like,
what do you mean your people?
Like your people? I'm like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm American
no,
too. I love all the people.
They've been Brigham is very welcoming. I think
they are. Yeah, if you're looking for a place to live, Brigham City is. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's got that small town feel still.
But we have a Walmart parking lot.
We do have the parking lot. We don't have the Walmart, but we have the parking lot.
My friend was watching a video him and I are looking at it, and talked about a lady having a baby in the Walmart. Like
what?
In the bathroom.
No.
Yeah.
In the Walmart? In Perry?
Happens. Well, and it said, this lady had this baby in the Perry Walmart. And my friend looks at me and goes, that looks just like the Brigham City Walmart.
Sorry to disappoint you.
And I was like, it's a sore subject. Don't bring it up again, please.
Sorry to disappoint you. That is in Perry. So that means we have the Wingers. We have the Sonic.
The Wingers. I don't know.
We have the T-Mobile.
That means we have the Swig.
We have the Fizz.
We have the Fizz, yeah.
Yeah. So... But to be fair, it's the same zip code.
That's the Postal Service not recognizing our independence.
Not recognizing Perry's independence.
Yeah.
Search up the zip
code.
Does
that mean that Brigham City has a claim to take over Perry?
I don't know.
Like Russia is taking over Ukraine because we're like, same zip code. You're ours now.
It's basically the same.
They speak the same language. Culturally, we're very aligned.
No, I would agree. We are. Look it up though. Look up the zip code. Look up 84302, and it comes up with Brigham City. It doesn't come with Perry.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a Brigham City zip code.
I think that when I run for mayor, I have another thing.
But I think Perry has...
My fellow brothers.
Perry does have
sisters.
their... no, you're not going to try to, like...
We will take over Perry.
Perry's been annexed, man.
Perry's what?
Perry's been annexed.
Been annexed into Brigham?
No,
we're going to mobilize.
We're not going to try to take over Perry.
It'd be easy.
I mean, what do they have going for them?
They got the fruit highway, man.
They do.
We need secure resources to feed our troops.
But whenever you go to Yoder's Donuts, they don't stop in Perry. They go to Willard.
They do Brigham and they do Willard.
Pettingill's in Willard.
Do you know the Pettingills?
I don't know them, no. But I know the fruit stand and the
the owner of the Pettingills fruit stand is Steve Pettingill.
Do you know Steve?
I played basketball with him for many years. And Steve is just this like old school farmer. Yeah. That man doesn't have an ounce of fat on him. He is just pure rippling like old man muscle.
Yeah.
And
way to go,
he
Steve.
has these like huge hands, and he would come play basketball. He's older. He's quite a bit older than I am. And
where would you play basketball with him?
Like 5:30 in the morning at the church in Perry.
Wait, there's
the one across the street from it's the Stake Center. It's
okay by the park down the street from the park.
Yeah, it's just right off the road.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'd go play basketball, and Steve. Sometimes I'd have to guard him, and I weighed like 50 pounds less than I do now, and I am at the optimal angle. I got the arm on his back, and
he just takes his hand and
is like backing up, doing the back to the basket. Yep. And he's like, stop it. Like, stop pushing on me. I'm like, dude, like, this is totally legal. I'm allowed to do this. I'm allowed to occupy the space too. And he was not coordinated. Like all that muscle. And he was just so much fun to play with. One time there was a loose ball and we both started running toward it. And I'm booking it and he's booking it. And we ran into each other.
Oh.
Now I want you to think that he probably wasn't running that fast. I was running super fast. And I just bounced off him like a brick wall. I am laid out. Every crack you could imagine. It was like up my body, toe to nose, cracked. And he's just standing there. He's like a bug hit his windshield.
Is he still farming? How old is he?
He's
the family
he's
taking
older
over
now. Like, I don't know that if he has any kids or anything doing it. But if you go there during like Halloween and stuff, like in the fall festivals, he'll like ride around on like a little horse carriage thing and like
take his
kids around.
That's cool.
I imagine he's getting older and stuff, but yeah, he's just a good guy.
Good. I've only gone there for Yoder's Donuts.
Yeah, we go there for like to get the pumpkins and stuff with the kids.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah.
Have you had Yoder's Donuts?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Good.
We can't be bought. Yoder's Donuts. Yoder's Donuts.
I would take that sponsorship every day. If only if it were free donuts, I would take it.
Yeah, one of our friends at the chiropractor's office.
Yes.
Is on their website, on their social media, I think.
Like featured on their social media? Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You got to ask them about it. They're not happy. It's not a great picture.
Oh. Next time I go in, I'll have to ask which one of you is on Yoder's page.
I think I've seen you on featured on Yoder's page.
I've seen you on Yoder's page.
Yeah. Here's an interesting thing without naming names. So I'm going to just say doctor.
Okay.
And we've both been to this doctor, the chiropractor. What does he always say to you when you see him? What is his salutation?
Oh, man. I don't know. What is it, Dave? What does he say to you?
Oh, he says the same thing to everyone.
What is it?
He goes, hey. Like, hey, Dave, what do you know? What do you know?
What do you know? Yeah, he does say that.
Okay. So I've been going to him for many years. And I thought to myself,
I'm going to have an answer.
No. I always just am like, I don't know, like, you know, can't trust a fart after 40. That check valve has only so many cycles. It's not all gas. You know, some stupid fact, right?
Yep.
But I went to him last week and I said, hey, out of curiosity, why do you ask that?
What was his response?
I said, I've never heard anybody ask that before as like a greeting. And he goes, you know, I'm not a particularly extroverted person, which is funny given the fact that
he
I
works in the service industry.
A ton of people. He's like, I really like the job. I like what I do. But he's like, I'm not naturally like an extroverted person. And he said he found that if he asked the people, you know, how are you? Hey, how are you doing? That's more open-ended. They might talk about things that he really doesn't want to talk about.
Yeah.
But if he sticks to like,
what do you
know? People might tell him something interesting or tell him a joke or something. And so it's kind of a way to kind of just like guide things.
Okay.
Because he's very good at being like focused and structured and like, focused on getting the appointment and let's go to the next person. Like in a positive way. I don't mean this like in a negative, but it made me think about that. Like when you see people, you know, a lot of times we say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
And what do people say 99.999% of the time?
I'm good.
I'm good. How often is that true?
Well, I would hope that they are being good most of the time.
So I can report it back to Santa. For a second, I thought you were going to say naughty.
Here's the thing, Dave. When people say I'm good, they don't mean they're being good or behaving in a good way.
No, I understand that.
I mean, I'm doing well.
Yes.
But I like to think they are doing good because they're a good person.
Okay. But truthfully, how many times do you tell people that you're good when you're not good?
Truthfully, I think I am doing just fine most of the time. Like,
okay, but if
I don't dwell on like negatives.
You tell them, like,
would I
hey,
tell them? It depends on who they are. Depends on how closely I know I am with their.
And
how
I
close
think
that
that's a
relationship
culture.
is.
I think that's a cultural thing too.
Yeah, I would say that.
I think that, like, we are. One thing I would say.
Well, we're an individualist
yeah.
culture, right? And so we want to stick to ourselves for the most part. We don't want to open up quite as much as what and for better or worse, that is the case.
Well, and I think that if you do open up, then it's like you're the weird guy, you're the weirdo. Like, why are you talking to me about this? I just met you, right?
There's got to, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a balance, right? Yeah. It's good to be vulnerable with people. It's good to be open, but you got to check yourself at some point. Right?
I think.
Am I sharing too much?
I think that.
How is what I'm sharing relevant to the relationship?
I think that I probably have developed, and I would say this is like a defense mechanism, is that I will tell people things that they probably think are very personal for me, but it's more of a distraction.
Give me an example. What's an example?
I don't know. They might be like, "Oh, how you doing today?" I'm like, I don't know, like somebody shot my dog with a BB in its butt, right? And they're gonna laugh about it. And we're gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
But if I'm really not doing good, like, man, I'm having a hard time. Like, I'm having a hard time. Like my whatever is going on. But I'm working through it. And thanks for asking. I'm not that I want to have like a long conversation with them about it, nor do I expect them to expend like a bunch of emotional energy. But they asked how I was doing, and I'm like, yeah.
You were honest.
I'm going to be honest with them. But it's easier just to kind of like distract.
Are you honest with most people when they ask how you are?
I would say that I'm honest with most people because I don't find value in putting layers between me and other humans. Because like me having intimate, close friendships with people means more than stuff. Yeah. Like what else am I doing here? And so am I going to be vulnerable with them and they might walk away and be like, what a weirdo.
They probably, I'm sure they are.
You're not wrong. I mean,
it's only weird because we don't do it very often.
Well, and I want to break that down. So I ask people how they're doing and they say good. And I'll look at them and say,
are you really?
I said, why?
Why are you good?
I'm like, why are you doing good? What's going on? Like, what's good today? Or I'm like, and if you're not doing good and you don't want to talk about it, that's cool too. But I'm like, you don't need to lie to me. I just met you. Why do we have to start off this relationship based on lies and deceit, falsehoods?
My first impression is that you're lying to me.
Yeah, but I mean, like, where did we? The reason I think we do it is because it's not safe. I mean, like, all of middle school just teaches kids to not, like, be themselves. They get bullied and picked on if they're honest.
Yeah, I think the independence part of the culture, like personal independence part of our culture, drives a lot of it too, right? You don't want to be seen as someone that's needy. And there's this fear that if I'm sharing too much, I'm going to come off as someone that needs a shoulder to cry on or some support, or I need help with something. And I think our society values independence and problem solving more than they do supporting one another. Well, and I don't know if that's a generalization, right? There are individuals that really do take the time to get to know somebody. Or
well, see, and I think that like sharing with them, like, hey, like, it's a crappy day, and this is why. Yeah. And then I'll just end it with like, yeah, it's fine though. I'm good. Yeah. Like I don't really want to like burden them. I don't really know them. Like I don't expect them. But I think letting them know that crap happens.
Yeah.
And not everybody's just like, yeah, good. I'm like, why are we going through this charade? Like, have you read that book, Go Dogs, Go Dog Go? It's a kid book. It's like, how are you today? I'm good. Do you like my hat? No, I do not. Goodbye, goodbye, right? And it's just this charade. And I'm like, it doesn't feel very genuine. But I think it's also more of an autistic trait to just tell people how you feel. And
I could see that.
I like spreadsheets, so I'm probably autistic.
You're probably autistic. I think we've determined this. Yeah.
So people say this, and it's like, ooh, they're TikTokers. Or like,
you have given me some things to think about, Dave. How am I going to respond next time someone asks me how am I doing?
I usually say peachy.
Peachy?
Peachy is my go-to.
My go-to is well enough.
Well enough. I say peachy, and if we're in Brigham, I said, as all people in Brigham are. Because I think it's funny with the whole peach days, right? But I said peachy today to some ladies at a restaurant, Zhao's.
Zhao's in Marriott Slaterville?
No, this one was in Sandy.
Oh, okay.
My uncle owns Zhao's. He started it.
Is he Chinese?
No, he's a white guy.
That's on brand for America.
I know. He's a businessman.
Yeah,
anyway,
it's
super
great.
cool
It's
guy.
great.
But their native language, I think, was Spanish. And so I was
Oh, really?
like, they spoke English pretty well. But like, how you doing? I was like, peachy. And they're like,
what does that mean?
I was like,
what does that mean?
I said, it's a really old phrase from like 70 years ago that I think's funny to say.
Peachy just means like I'm...
Peachy
what does that
keen.
mean? I'm ripe. I'm sweet. What is it? Break it down for me, Dave. When you say peachy, what do you actually mean?
You've never heard the phrase peachy?
I have, but I want to know from you.
Oh, for me, it just means I'm doing good.
Okay.
It's my
What's
I'm
good?
doing good.
And what's good?
My default is good.
That's how I feel.
And I think you and I have similar dispositions that way. But if I'm legitimately like, no, I'm having a hard time, I would rather just tell people like, no, I'm not good. Like, I'm struggling with something and I'm trying to work through it and I don't know how to do it, and that's fine. I don't need to. And if they want to ask follow-up questions, I'll be like, okay, like here. I'm like, I'm going to tell you what's going on so you'll feel better about your life in comparison. And at least one of us walk away from this feeling better.
Now, let me ask you this. You ask someone how they're doing and they're honest with you.
Yeah.
If they're going through something, do you offer anything?
Okay, being a man and an engineer, I want to fix problems, right? And so that is a hard thing for me to not just jump into and be like, oh, most of the problems that I hear, I'm like, I have an opinion on the matter. And they're like, oh yeah, I bent over and I pick up a piece of paper and like my back just threw out. My back throws out all the time. I'd be like, I've had that same problem. You should totally do this. It really works, right?
Yeah.
And I've had to rewind, and this is a skill set I'm working on because I'm okay with people giving me advice and me being like, thanks. I'm not going to do that. Yeah. I'll even tell them, like, thanks, I appreciate it, but like, it's not really my cup of tea, or I'm not there yet, or whatever, right? But I have, I'm trying this, and I'm not saying I'm good at it yet, but when they tell me a problem, and I think I have a solution, I say, hey, would you mind if I shared some advice with you on that? And if they say, no, I don't really want to, I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to do it, and I think you're stupid. Because I had some great advice.
I have great ideas. I have so many good ideas.
No, like,
you don't even want to hear one.
We have the same zip code. We could take over Perry. That's a great idea that you just put in in my head. But yeah, I'm like, okay, you don't want it. That's fine. But most of the time, if you say, hey, would it be okay to share some advice?
Are you open to suggestions?
Yeah, I have some advice on that. Would you be interested in it?
Yeah.
And if they're like, no, I'm not really interested in having advice, I'd be like, okay. I'm like, if you change your mind,
you know where you can stick it.
Yeah. That is much better than somebody being an asshole.
Which is someone that asks too many questions?
It's people that ask for advice and then don't do any of it. They're assholes.
Yeah, I've been that.
Yeah.
Not always.
But then they come back and complain to you. that things didn't go well. This is a full circle of abuse here. So what about you? Like, if you did ask somebody and they did open up, what do you do with that?
I don't know. I try to listen.
And do what?
Just listen.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, sure, like things will roll around in my brain like, oh man, you should really try blah, 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 or go talk to that person or get some therapy or whatever, right?
Okay.
These things roll around in my head because
like
of
constantly.
course, I'm a man and I want to fix stuff.
Yep.
I just want to do stuff with my hands.
Yeah.
Stop it. But for the most part, I try to just, oh, okay. Nod.
Is that natural for you?
No, it's something that I've tried to learn or I've had to learn.
Because of marriage.
Yes.
I would definitely say, like,
it's like years of marriage. It's like, now, would you be open to advice or do you just want me to listen?
Yeah,
Most of the time it's met with, I don't know, let me work through this. And then I just ask
they
more
might
questions.
be like thinking out loud.
Right. And that's most of the time that's the case. And I think if someone were to feel comfortable enough to open up to me when I ask them how they're doing, okay, that sounds hard. It's the nail in the head.
Yeah, the nail. That's
the nail in the head.
If you've never seen nail head video, 2 minutes long, go look it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not about the nail. It's never about the nail.
It's a hilarious analogy, but it does bring, like, it
Very
does help.
accurate.
Yeah, it's so accurate. So
I think that reading the person well enough, the situation well enough to not have to ask the question, is hard.
Yeah.
But if you can get there, that's really nice. Then it's more like, oh, I can tell they want advice or they don't want advice.
I value the relationships that I have with people.
Okay.
And when they do feel comfortable enough to be vulnerable with me, I don't have to ask how they're doing. Or the relationship's good enough to where I'm like, I already know, right? What's going on with this? How have things been going with that? And I can just let them talk and listen, and I don't need to interject. And a lot of times people will work things out on their own by just asking the right questions.
Yeah, if you ask questions, and I think therapists do that.
Yeah.
Right? They're not typically telling you what to do. They might say, hey, there's a couple ways you could go about this. Here's option A, B, C, D. Here's some what do you think about the pros and cons of each of these? You kind of go through the thought exercise. But I think it depends. It's different with the different people they're like giving therapy to.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. This is related to therapy. We've meandered.
We have. We got to bring this back at some point. We'll get there. We'll get there.
This is Seinfeld of
yeah, it is the Seinfeld of
talk
podcasts.
About what we want. You'll listen to some of it. So
ask me about therapy. That's what you're asking.
No, it's a therapy type related question.
Okay. All right.
Okay. When you want to get somebody on your page, let's say it's your wife or a boss or a friend, you come to them, you ask them, say, hey, blah, blah, you make your pitch, and then you ask the question. If they say no, what is your next step?
If they say no. Okay.
And you can't do it without them. You need them. You need to be on the same page with them. This isn't like, hey, do you want to go to Lagoon? Your wife's like, no. You're like, okay, I'm going to go to Lagoon without you. This is something you're like, I think we should move, or I think I should take a new job, like, and move across the country, or I think that we should not be friends with these people, or we should be friends with these people. Like, just something that really needs to be both of you on the same page.
Okay. Ask the question again.
You make the pitch to your spouse, friend, boss, whoever, right? And you say, hey, I think we should do this. And they say no. What is your natural next step?
My natural next step is to try to show them why we should do it.
Okay. Has that always been your natural?
Yes.
Since you were as young as
it's
you could
like,
think?
Yeah, it's like, how can I work this to get what I want?
Okay, because you've thought through it, and you don't think that you're being unreasonable, the thing you're asking for.
Right, yeah.
And so, obviously, if they're saying no, It's because you just haven't explained it well enough.
You don't know. You don't understand why this is important to me.
Yeah, I gave you like a high level, but let me get into some more details. Like this is a 20% ROI. Blah, blah, blah.
Something that I have learned is to try to hear the other side and kind of let go of what I want for, or at least try to come to some compromise.
Okay, so my friend, he is getting his clinical hours, and he did a class for therapy.
Okay.
Right? So he did a class. It went on for like 6 weeks. And at the end of it, I was asking him a couple questions. And he said that is the number one problem with couples.
As we try to convince the other one why
when confrontation arises, when you don't get what you want, we don't ask enough questions.
Yeah. And why are you saying no? Why do you think this is not a good idea?
Like, why you say no when it's so easy and it feels so good
to say yes?
To say yes, right? Like, why do you got to make it that way, right? He said that is just natural human nature to kind of like, oh, let me dig in, let me go again, let me explain it. Like, obviously, and I thought about that. And I was like, that is for young Dave.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
The older I'm getting, I'm not saying I'm good at this, I'm working on it. Even before he said that, I was like, oh, I noticed that I'm getting negative reactions. Like there's some confrontation. I can feel it. By the time I feel it, it's probably been going on for a while.
It's got to be pretty strong if you can realize.
And as somebody with no negative equity and emotional intelligence. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I need to ask questions to help understand where the other person's coming from. And at that point, maybe you've asked enough questions that you can then reposition your, hey, I came in here, but now I'm hearing you. Could we meet here? Because ultimately, my goal is not for me to get the person on my page. I want us to be on the same page regardless of what the page is, right?
Yeah.
And I've thought about it a lot, and so I'm hoping they'd say yes. I've known the person well enough. I've thought about them. I'm going to pitch it. But if they say no, a lot of people aren't good communicators, and they say no, and they won't give you the reasons why.
Yeah.
They're not like, hey, let me tell you, let me help you so you can like redo this. So you have to get the follow-ups and they ask the questions in a non-confrontational way. And then maybe you can repitch, or maybe you can say, I want to think about the things that you talked about. They mean a lot to me. I'll come back to you tomorrow.
I think the pitch needs to change, Dave.
What pitch?
Your pitch.
Like tone or like the pitch?
I think it needs to be, you got to stop using a yes or no question. It's not can I. It's when am I going to get to do this?
I understand. That's salesman tactics. I understand those. I don't know if you know this, but I was the #1 salesperson at Zions Bank, and for 3.5 years. And it was like, how do you do it? I'm like, I don't ask them, I tell them.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't have online banking. Let's get you signed up today.
Yeah.
They can say no, but I'm not like making them make a decision. That's very different than like a long-term relationship with your wife. And here's the thing.
A little bit.
And when you get your 5 friends to join, and then they find their 5 friends to join, can you imagine the freedom you'll have?
Yes. It's part-time work for full-time pay.
Yeah. And so that being said, and now that you got to this point in the PowerPoint, I'm going to drop on one knee. Will you marry me? No, you will marry me.
So when are we getting married?
Not you will marry me.
It's not will you. It's when are you going to marry me? When do you want to marry me? It's not Dave, do you want to be a guest on the Daves of Our Lives? It's Dave, when are you going to be a guest on the Daves of Our Lives?
Sounds very much like Gaston on Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. When we get married.
There's seven dogs? No. strapping boys like me. Picture this. Doesn't really ask her to marry him.
Yeah, it's not.
So I feel like you're trying to get me to pitch things like Gaston.
No. Here's the thing, Dave.
Convince me otherwise.
When are you going to use this on Laura?
The question shouldn't be when. It's how many times have I used this on Laura?
How many times has it blown up in your
My
face?
favorite pitch to Laura is, listen, current Laura isn't thinking about future Laura. Future Laura will be very happy with current Laura if current Laura makes this decision. Guaranteed. Like, if I could have a letter from future Laura to share with current Laura,
she'd be very happy with this decision.
Current Laura would be just mind blown how happy future Laura is. Like, do you love current Laura? Or do you love current Laura and future Laura?
How much do you love future Laura?
That's the pitch. And, sometimes it works. Like 50,
no, it's
50.
Yeah. Normally, most of the time, it's like I do ask like the yes or no. I'm like, would it be okay if we blah 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 blah? Well, no, because we've got this, that, and that, and the other, and then it's like, what if I do this?
Well, yeah, because ultimately you still want a
right?
yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, like, the things I ask Laura are like social events. So it's like, hey, can we invite over someone like so-and-so on Friday? Like, let's have a party. And depending on how current Laura feels, the answer might be no. And future Laura is going to be like, that was really fun.
Yeah.
So I often will tell her, and I know that she's not feeling super great, or maybe she's tired. I'm like, hey, I'm going to throw this out here. I don't want an answer. I just want you to chew on it. So I don't forget, and you kind of like, I'm thinking about this, and I know based off how I feel right now, you're probably going to say no. It's understandable. But why don't you think about it, and let's talk about it when you feel better. And so it's like she has a migraine or something, or she's super tired, or somebody shot our dog in the butt. These might all be reasons why I'm not going to get
the yes,
outstanding yes, right? Yeah. And then sometimes it's, compromise and understanding that, hey, this might be more of a duty-bound activity, like visiting a family member that maybe you don't love as much as not driving. There's a lot of driving and stuff, and so it's like, okay, hey, let's go do this. We'll have a good time, and we'll go out to dinner afterwards. And it's like, okay, I'm checking this box. She's getting fed. Win-win, right?
Yes.
I'm getting fed too.
Yeah, of course.
But, and sometimes there is no, I would say, them be the vegetables of life, right? You have
the vegetables of life.
Yeah.
Our wives are the vegetables of life?
No. An activity, something.
Oh, okay.
I tell it to the kids all. I go, them be the vegetables.
Them be the vegetables.
Of life.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you just got to eat them. You just got to do it. And so there are things that I'm like, hey, Laura, like, we just need to do this. Like, them be the vegetables. But in 2 days, let's go do this. And it's
so you can get your dessert.
Yeah, dessert. So it's like, sometimes you just got to do stuff that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Because it's better for everybody involved.
To bring this full circle.
America.
Sometimes you got to throw the tea overboard.
Taxation without representation.
Right.
Inflation is taxation without representation. Prove me wrong.
I've got so many ideas about taxes.
Oh my gosh, you do.
So many ideas about taxes.
It's a 4-letter word.
Yeah. 5, but it's
I like how you like.
I'm like, wait, it's 5 letters.
Like, is the E silent?
Tax. Yeah, I think we've kind of gone. I don't know. We could go off on it.
Dude, we talked about all sorts of crazy stuff, but to be honest, we had a different plan tonight.
Yeah,
this was kind of a last minute thing.
No, I mean, I could go on and on about what my opinions about taxes are. You know,
we don't got time for that.
Gone backward a little bit, but yeah,
no. I don't know when we.
It's better than some.
We can talk about taxes on an episode separately.
That may be blurring some lines.
Oh yeah, we probably can't talk about taxes. Do we want to do a plug for what we're doing with the non-Dave?
Oh yeah, at some point we were gonna have my co-host from the Simple Man's Gospel on. His name's Tom. He's non-Dave. We were gonna do a crossover episode where we would record it with him and then post it on both the Daves and the Simple Man's Gospel. Well, that is coming down at some point in the future. We'll have to coordinate with Tom, and when we can do that.
We have a fun topic on it. I think as long as Tom's okay, we won't disclose it now. But Tom,
yeah, I think it's appropriate, but we'll discuss it.
I think it'd be a fun topic for scriptural and something that's relevant to today's discussion.
Yeah, it'll be good. So hopefully sooner rather than later. But
thanks for joining our meandering. Honestly, I just want to sit here and shoot the breeze with Dave, and we just happened to record it. So
that's typically that's why we started the podcast in the first place.
We need to hang out with each other more.
We're just going to talk. Join us next time on the Daves of our lives, where we will have other Daves next time.
Yes, there will be more Daves, better Daves.
Well, we don't know.
Okay, there'll be more Daves.
There will be more Daves.
More Daves is better.
More intelligence to add to
more diversity.
More diversity, yes. Join us next time for the Daves of our lives, where we will have more diversity.